Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And throughout the month of October, I've been doing a theme called Spooky Season Suggestions. And this is where I've been taking a lot of those horror movie requests that I've gotten throughout the year that I just haven't done a review for yet. So this one is a viewer request for the 2007 film Trick or Treat. Here is your trivia question for today. What is the name of Mr. Krieg's dog? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So, Trick or Treat is an anthology film that takes place in Warren Valley, Ohio on Halloween night. We have multiple stories that all seem to be converging. A married couple that are just coming back from a costume party, a school principal that may have some devious plans for the children this year, a group of trick or treaters that are participating in a local legend, a group of friends that are on the hunt for men to bring to a party, a crotchety old man who is not a fan of the holiday, and at the center of all of this, a mischievous being known as Sam Hain. This movie was written and directed by Michael Dougherty. It is technically based off of Dougherty's 1996 animated short film called Season's Greetings, and this is where the character of Sam debuted. This film had multiple potential names. The first one they were going to go with was in fact Season's Greetings, named after the short. Then it was Halloween Terrors, then Jack-o'-lantern Tales, then October the 31st, and then finally Trick or Treat. But when they found out that there was another film under that name, they slightly changed it to Trick or Treat. The Peeping Tom kid who appears at the store near the beginning of the film was actor Quinn Lord, who does play the character of Sam throughout the film. Brian Cox plays the character of Mr. Krieg and does a wonderful job. But did you happen to know that they specifically put a wig and prosthetics on him so that he would resemble John Carpenter, as Michael Dougherty is a huge fan of his? Anna Paquin plays the character Laurie, who is specifically named after Laurie Strode, the character from the original Halloween film. Actor C. Ernst Harth has a cameo/reference as Laurie's blind date, as he also played the Great Child in the movie 13 Ghosts, and both that film and this one were both made by Warner Brothers Films. The performers that played the kids on the school bus and their zombified versions were in fact real kids with disabilities or injuries. They had a blast performing in this. The werewolves in this film were actually made by Tatopolis Studios, who also did the Lycans in the Underworld movies. Speaking of the werewolf scene, the song used near the end of that sequence is Marilyn Manson's cover of Sweet Dreams, which also, in my opinion, is probably one of the best song to movie moments in a horror film. But they originally were going to use the song Fever by Peggy Lee. They felt, though, that it needed to be something edgier. Did you happen to notice in the school bus scene there is a reference to John Carpenter's 1983 film Christine, as you can see a 1958 Plymouth Fury parked on the street. You may not have known this, but Billy's look of the red hair, overalls, and the striped shirt are supposed to be an homage to the character of Chucky from the Child's Play series. In the original concept, the rock quarry was actually going to be a cemetery that was covered in pumpkins. And speaking of pumpkins, most of the jack-o'-lanterns used throughout the film were either made out of foam or ceramic. Due to some of the candy in the film either being poisoned or having razor blades in it, they weren't allowed to use any actual candy brands. And this is why we see things like the Holly Ho bar. The candy bar that actually saves Mr. Krieg's life is a Latka bar. This is the last name of co-producer Peter Latka. In a similar situation, the bottle of booze Mr. Krieg uses to defend himself is Glenn McPherson. This is the name of the director of photography. The movie was entirely filmed in British Columbia, Canada. There have been talks of a sequel since 2009. Nothing has come so far, but I really hope they eventually do make one. Now, as of the recording of this video, there is currently a Kickstarter for a sequel in the form of a comic book called Trick or Treat Witching Hours. Something you may not be aware of, but the 2015 film Krampus was also directed and co-written by Michael Dougherty. It is also believed that that film and Trick or Treat exist in the same universe. There's even a couple deleted scenes in Krampus that allude to this. So when it comes to the film Trick or Treat, this in my opinion is the best, if not one of the best, horror anthology movies that exists because they do such an amazing job at weaving all of the stories together, and all of the stories, in my opinion, are interesting. I also think this is the perfect movie to watch on Halloween. So I am definitely giving this one a 5 out of 5. And if you enjoyed Trick or Treat, other films I recommend checking out are the first two Creepshow movies, Tales of Halloween and 1031. And now it's time to answer the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. What is the name of Mr. Krieg's dog? So Mr. Krieg seems to have no love for anyone or anything other than his dog, which makes it quite funny that he named his dog Spite. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.